Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending this session on community and mentorship. We're going to talk about an example of how developers and founders grow and give back. So I have the good privilege of having worked with communities for over 5 years now in various capacities, both at Google and before that in various other companies. So I wanted to basically take us all through a brief journey on how and the keys. So with that, I just wanted to start with a quick introduction of my as well as startup level across India. I'm also responsible for Middle East and North Africa as a region. So I would try to share with you for the next 20-25 minutes of how this journey of community and mentorship has gone for us, and share with you some top level views. Talks about a lot of concepts, and some of the things are very commonsensical and very common. So there's not much of rocket science or something complex to learn here. But sometimes we kind of ignore these basics, and because of which you're not able to build a vibrant community. So communities is a very interesting term, right? So communities have been there for long. Ever since mankind is existing, communities have been there because people try to live with amongst each other. Birds of the same feather flock together. So this is a very common phenomenon, and a common adage. Like technology try to hang out together. Masons hang out together. People who want to get into organic farming look for a community so that they can learn something. You want to learn a new skill, you join a community. So community is an amazing way for you to develop a particular talent or develop particular passion or pursue it. But that community vibrant and will become thriving only if people are able to take care of certain aspects of community. So one basic essential need of a community is people of similar interests have to flock together. So if you're a Firebase enthusiast and if you want to learn something about Firebase, and if you're very passionate about learning or giving, you join a Firebase community. And if you're from a particular tribe, and if you basically want to participate and enjoy and passionately contribute in a folk dance, you join a community where you start as a novice and then part you through and you learn a new skill and you're able to pursue a passion. So first and foremost, you need to have a sense of belonging by whoever is running the community. Suppose there's a person who's running a Golang community. And as a community leader, he or she needs to make sure that there's a sense of belonging for every community member who comes and wants to participate in that particular community. And this atmosphere is very essential to make sure that you're able to work in an open and a transparent manner, you're respectful to each other, and at the same time, you're able to take care of each other's interests. Becomes very key and pivotal for you. So if you're wanting to practice yoga, again, you join a community. It could be a big community, it could be a small community. Sense of belonging becomes very essential and very critical. So we all know that Stack Overflow is one of the biggest online community globally. And the way some community ethos and reason why this become what it is because people out there are very passionate, very responsive, and genuinely want to help each other. The sense of giving is very high with the Stack Overflow community. And that becomes a very critical part of making sure that as community organizers or catalysts or building community, we have to make sure that we're able to give the sense of belonging and the sense of ownership and the sense of joy of giving. It has to be there existing in a community. Then we move on to how we empower and offer mentorship. Empowerment and mentorship becomes the second important tenet of building a vibrant community. So in the past 5 or 6 years, I've been involved in communities like Google and in my prior roles. One of the key aspects for me, I mostly see my role as a gardener. As a gardener, when you're building a community, you're not typically coming in the way. So what does typically a gardener do who's trying to build a community, who's trying to get into gardening, right? So a gardener doesn't try to come in the way of he nurtures the plants. He doesn't come in the way. He observes things so that if there's some issues, some disease or something which is not natural, tries to go ahead and clean that up so that the plant is able to grow and flower, and then the garden starts flourishing, and then it becomes a very, very vibrant community. So typically everybody who wants to build a community, be it in tech space, be it in non-tech space, be it in gaming space, have to observe and assume a role of a gardener so that they're able to make sure that the garden is able to grow and flower in a natural way, in an organic manner, without any obstructions, and at the same time, not in an inorganic way, right? If you're doing things like adding unnecessary fertilizers, if you're trying to get very quick growth, it becomes inorganic and it won't be sustainable. So you have to be able to build an ecosystem of within the community, somebody who is part of the community, and he or she feels that they're able to take the decisions, they're able to bring in the leadership qualities, they're able to actually work with the right intent to help the overall development of the community, which essentially means the development of everybody who's participating in the community. And how does that work? It works through mentorship. And mentorship works in a way that whoever wants to offer has been given the platform to offer, and more importantly, whoever have to receive have also got the platform to receive. So it's a two-way street. So people need to be open, transparent, and you need to create a conducive environment where you can bring in problems, and people who have an idea of solving these problems can jump at it and offer mentorship. And so this way, there's something to look forward to, right? So you come to a community because you want to learn something, you have a problem, you want to get a fix, and you want to get that in a very, very quick manner. So as a community leader or somebody who's a catalyst or a gardener for a community, you need to make sure that interchange happens of mentorship and mentee. The other third important aspect of community is to make sure that everybody is contributing. Even receiving mentorship is contribution, right? So you're actively seeking to get some advice, actively seeking to get some help, or you're actively contributing. So it has to happen in a two-way street. So if 80 to 90% of the people in the community are contributing in some form or other, you know that the community becomes a vibrant community. And that's how civilizations get made or not get made, because if you have vibrant communities which are helping each other, then civilizations thrive. And similarly, be it a tech space or a non-tech space, wherever you have communities that are very vibrant and there's a lot of action, there's a lot of buzz, and a lot of giving and taking happening, for innovation is going to happen. Eventually, people will start monetizing, and then everybody gets benefited out of monetization, and then the whole community grows, right? If you look at India as a community, Bangalore as a community, or Hyderabad as a community, Silicon Valley as a community. All these are nothing but communities, and how they all work together in a cohesive manner and help each other and selflessly want to see success of each other is how the community thrives and grows, and eventually everybody gets benefited. And contribution plays a very, very key role in making communities thrive. So in a nutshell, there are three important aspects of building community. You need to make sure that you give a sense of belonging. So whoever is running the community needs to be able to support own identity, connecting with people with the same passion, sense of belonging. You need to feel that you're part of this tribe, and it has to come from within, and it has to have a very, very strong feeling. So everybody needs to feel empowered, and mentorship is a two-way street. For everybody who gives mentorship, you need to have same amount of people who are receiving the mentorship, and you can switch roles, right? It's not that a mentor is always a mentor and a mentee is always a mentee. So there are aspects where the mentee can become a mentor, and it's called reverse mentoring. So you should be able to provide that opportunity for that, because you don't want to give a slot people into a particular thing and then it gets very boring. It has to be very flexible. It has to be open and transparent so that people can seamlessly change between mentorship and being a mentee. And then as a community leader or as a gardener who's managing a community, you need to make sure that everybody is working cohesively in contributing, in collaborating, co-creating, and giving back. Giving back is very, very key, because if you're receiving a lot from the community, it becomes your moral responsibility to give back. And that's how you grow. So only if the community grows, you can grow in the ecosystem. If you alone grow, and if your ecosystem doesn't grow, you're not able to increase the pie, and because of it, the market won't grow, and eventually you will have problems. Let me give you an example why that happens. So assume that you go to a community and you get what you want to get from that community and you switch off. So then guess what happens? So if everybody is into that mindset, and then eventually the community collapses, and then tomorrow, if you want to hire like-minded people, or if you want to get some business partners happening, your talent pool in that particular community for you to dip in will not happen. So you will not be able to get good resources. And so then you have to import resources, which will become very expensive. Rather, if you constantly keep supporting the community, keep giving back in whatever little way you want. And so along with your establishment, if you also make sure that the community around you is vibrant and is growing, it will definitely benefit your idea, your business, or whatever you're into. So giving back is very, very essential. It's probably much more essential than getting from what you want from a community. Okay, let's look into what is value of mentorship. So mentorship is all about showing a mirror. And most of the times when somebody shows us a mirror, we don't like it, because it is like that, right? So we always feel that this is not good or that is not good about something. And then, so 70, 80% of the time, you don't like what you say. And that's important for you to acknowledge that you don't like what you're saying, and so that you're able to become much more open, much more vocal of what are the areas where you need help. Unless until if you're not really open about the areas where you need help, after looking at the mirror, and then you are not able to establish a good connection with the mentor. Getting the right insights at the right moment. Sometimes advice too early and too late will not make sense. So you have to be able to get the right kind of advice at the right moment so that you're able to work on it. And then, of course, you need to know when to fail fast. You can't stick on to some things for too long. If it's not working, the advice is not working, you just drop and move to the next possible things. And then we all have blind spots, and the whole thing about innovation, discovery, or scaling up is about how you see your blind spots and how you're able to overcome these blind spots very early in the cycle. Being a good mentee is all about active listening. Why mentee? It's generally active listening is something which is very important in life, because if you're a good listener, the very high chances of you receiving the right kind of inputs and listening to the right kind of traits, so that your muscle memory is able to take action, right? So you don't need to apply too much. So if you're an active, keen listener, your follow-through action happens automatically. You need to be very honest, keep an open mind. Obviously, there's no point spending hours on mentorship and if you're not willing to give it a try, right? So, if you need to be honest, then you need to really give it a try. And if it's not working, circle back, close the loop by saying why. And then obviously you need to have the mentality of wanting to get things done. So you need to just go out and do. So with that philosophy and guiding principles, we set up something called the Google for Startups Accelerator. And with that, we launched Indie Games Accelerator a year back. And we had a follow-up in 2019. Where we went in and worked with a lot of gaming developers across the community in India. And so one of the examples from this is that Google for Startups Accelerator Alumni, we have Play Simple Games, who have been part of the Indie Games Accelerator, who have essentially used the platform, the rich mentorship you get from the Indie Games Mass platform, not only from the mentors in India, but then you also diversity of mentorship. And that is very important. When I say diversity of mentorship, you get people who are able to see this problem from different angles. a mentor who's basically worked in a market will look at the problem in one way. A mentor who's worked in different markets and a different angle will be able to look at the problem in a different way. So once you start getting these diverse inputs, which becomes very important for you to see which of that and some of that, some of all, or one of many you could apply to go out and solve this problem. And Play Simple Games is one of the ones who have really made it big from the Google for Startups Accelerator Alumni. So Indie Games Accelerator alumni from India have been lots. So we have Octotop, Web Consultants, you have Tutti Frutti, you have Lucid Labs, Jambo, Go Live, Bombay Play, 2PI Interactive, 2Pi Interactive, Creative Monkey Games, and Hyper Games. So these are some of the names which are very prominent from the Indie Games Accelerator. This is a global cohort, and these are the ones who have come out on the global basis from India. So with that, I wanted to use this opportunity to invite Shruti Saraf, who's actually going through a Hightouch Mentorship from Google for Startups Class 4. She runs Blacklight Games, and she's here with us. So we wanted to get Shruti, and I wanted to basically use this opportunity to ask her a few questions, couple of questions on what... Hi, Shruti, are you there?
Hi, Karthik. Very much there.
Thanks for joining us. Good to have you here, Shruti. And I know you're going through the Google for Startups Class 4. And thanks for taking some time off to be with us. So quick question I have for you to start with is that, so you've been through this Google for Startups cohort. And what is the role of mentorship and how do you see mentorship play a role in the overall development of your strategy and execution of that from a Blacklight Games perspective? So over to you, Shruti.
Yeah, thank you, Karthik. And so we were a part of Indie Game Accelerator 2019, and we are also a part of Google for Startups Class 4. And during both of these programs, we got an opportunity to interact with some of the best minds of the industry and Google experts and fellow game developers. And undoubtedly, mentorship is one of the best things that can happen to any young entrepreneur. You learn from the experiences of others who have already made their mark in the industries or who are in a process of doing so. And you learn from their mistakes, you learn from their experience, and it actually helps you fasten the iterative process of improvement. And the best thing about these programs are that the mentors and the experts there, they just guide you enough. They do not give you a ready-made solution for all the problems and challenges you're facing. They'll just show you the right direction. The rest is up to you.
Thank you, Shruti. So my follow-up question is that what in your view should we all be doing together to make sure that we're able to develop a vibrant gaming community in India? And how do we get India out there on a global basis as a game developing market?
So in the recent years, India has improved. I wouldn't say improved. I would rather say that gaming industry in India has seen a boom. And this is a good time when, the question is coming at the right time. It's very much required that the game developers talk among themselves. We all are solving a similar set of issues. The problem that I am facing today is it's highly probable that the other gaming companies or other gaming developers are facing the same kind of issue. And if we solve the problem together, that's when the ecosystem grows. Ecosystem doesn't grow if I individually at my level solve the problem. It's very important that we all together work towards it, talk about it, discuss the issues, and help each other.
Thanks a lot, Shruti. And so any insights do you want to share from having been in the industry? What are the 2-3 things for an upcoming gaming developer you think he or she needs to keep in mind? Your opportunity to give your perspective on that.
So very recently, gaming has become very competitive. When I bootstrapped Blacklight, it was a kind of Indian market, at least, gaming was in a very nascent stage. It was hungry for content, and even if you have a half-baked kind of product, it would work. But in the recent years, gaming has become very competitive. So every time that a game developer is working on something, keep user in the center of it. Always think like a user and build something of that high quality that a user is willing to spend their time and their money on it. Because at the end of the day, we are here to make a profitable game and not just a game. We want to build a game that everyone enjoys playing. We just don't want to build a game which we are playing. So it's very important that you keep in mind that the user experience should be nothing less than wow, and the quality is perfect.
Thanks a ton, Shruti. Really very insightful talk, and all the very best with your Google for Startups Class 4, and all the very best for the success of Blacklight Games. And we'll stay tuned, and thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you. Thanks.
So that was Shruti who was sharing our insights in terms of from a gaming community. She herself running a gaming startup, what she has learned, and what she probably wants to see from the gaming community. So in a nutshell, for us to collectively, if you want to apply some of these practices which we have gone through in Google, of having built communities in the tech side of things, and if you want to apply that from a gaming standpoint, I think it starts from us, right? So when I say us, everybody who's wanting to be in the gaming scheme of things, wanting to participate in a community that much more actively, much more vigorously, and in a way being very selfless. And as pioneers and leaders who are trying to set up this community, being selfless becomes a very, very key thing, because you're probably leaving a legacy. So with that, we need to find your kind. So some of the examples of what we have been involved with is Google developer groups. It started in India by Google way back in 2010, 2011. It just around few chapters started. Today, there are around 58 chapters across the country. There's over 250,000 members across these various chapters, and they're doing probably on an average 1 meetup a month in each of these chapters, which is a very, very healthy average, because if that's an average, some of them are really doing much more than one a month. And given the kind of COVID times, this is, I would say, remarkable. And so why are they people doing this? Because there are people who are going through the value chain, right? There are students who are coming into a tech professional, and there are seniors who are wanting to grow and make sure that these folks are able to participate and start giving to the community. So this is a cyclical movement where people are constantly giving. There are some people who are taking or changing their roles and starting to give. And this cycle keeps going on, and then the community becomes bigger and vibrant and thriving. And this helps the overall ecosystem in terms of innovation, in terms of monetization, in terms of career growth, in terms of startup founders able to find CTOs, folks able to find good talent and things like that, right? So let me give you an example. Like, one of the as per Stack Overflow, Bangalore is a very, very vibrant community for Android. And what does that mean? Is that because a lot of innovations on Android happens out of Bangalore, and it doesn't happen in California, it probably doesn't happen in Berlin, by and large. Lots happens in Bangalore. And I would say the reason for that is because Bangalore has a very vibrant Android community. I know for a fact that there's something called BL Android, which has been pioneering the Android communities here, user group for long. There's a GDG chapter here. And there's a lot of Android user groups around in Bangalore where people are able to share and give knowledge. And this they're able to apply at scale on a global basis, which people are able to, and so anybody who wants a good Android engineer will typically look at an ecosystem where you have a strong community. Diversity is very key. So whatever we do in Google, we use the diversity lens. We also run a program called Women Tech Makers. And this is a program where we're able to drive a lot of women force to come into mainstream technology, be it in mentorship, be it speakers, be it in participation in events. We also run another community called the Developer Student Clubs. We have got communities of DSC leads in 275 colleges across close to 100 cities in India. They run their own study jams, collaborative learning and sharing and giving. We also run a pool of 50 Google developer experts. These are from the community. We provide a platform for them to offer mentorship and also receive a lot of inputs with people who are looking for expertise of theirs in a particular technology. And then, of course, we run the Google for Startups Accelerator. We also have the gaming edition of that in the form of Indie Games Accelerator. So please go ahead and sign up for any of these communities. As a game developer, you can always sign up for these communities to get more enriched information about technology. So we're also launching the India Games Week from November 25th to 27th. There will be talks on gaming and technology from game experts. On November 27th, you get a chance to speed mentoring from Google for Startups. This is exclusively for the India Games developer community, for folks who have been part of the IGDC, and you are doing this in collaboration with them. So feel free to sign up for the India Games Week, which is happening on November 25th and 27th. So please go ahead and give your game dev feedback. We'd like to continue building meaningful game developer engagement in India. So there's a bit.ly game developer survey. Please give us your candid feedback and let us know what else we can do in making sure that we're able to help build a vibrant gaming community in India. With that, please feel to follow us on Google Devs In, and that's the way for us to keep having this dialogue going forward. So please do sign up for India Games Week and give us a feedback on India Game Dev feedback. So with that, if you guys have any, we just still have 2 more minutes. Anyone has any quick thoughts, comments, feedback, suggestions, happy to take that. Okay, then. So with that,
Karthik, looks like there is one question that came in.
Okay.
That you might like to ask. Anyone can take part in India Game Week is the question.
Yeah, so there's an application process which is just about started. You can go look at the link and then apply. And then we will come back to you very, very quickly in terms of what are the criterias. And so obviously, the only aspect is that mentorship. So that's kind of limited because of the bandwidth. So it depends on the quality of the application. So yeah, feel free to apply, and then we'll quickly come back.
I have one question, Karthik. So beyond mentorship, what are the other things that, like, Google has a suite of services that you guys do, right? And would also, like, if a game studio would like to have a support from the influencers, and YouTube can come in and help us and guide us, and what is it like doing the marketing push, or your ad platforms can help us in that mentoring part of it.
Absolutely. So one of the things what we offer as a part of the Indie Games Accelerator or the Game Accelerator is that what are the different aspects of Google that can come in, right? One is the design aspect itself on the game, but beyond that, how do you use YouTube? How do you use AdMob? How do you do growth hacking? What are the other aspects for you to grow the business? So there are a lot of experts from that domain who have deep knowledge in that and who would probably share that from your context. So just giving it without a context will not help. So we'll be able to offer that insights from a context, and that's what I think will be of great value. And at least that's what has happened in the past with the Indie Games Accelerator. And some of our alumni said that, so if you're able to offer some inputs and advice based on a context, that becomes that much more enriching for them.
Lovely. That would be really helpful, because that's a suite of offerings that would be needed for an emerging studio, and it makes sense to have that in at one stage there. So fair enough.
Okay. Thank you all. Thanks, Imtiaz. Thanks, Shruti, and thanks everybody for a patient listen. And over to you, and look forward to seeing you all in keeping this dialogue going. So thank you very much. Bye.
Bye now. We can go to the backstage.